This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is 4/13/22, show number 382. Well, options expiration tomorrow for April. What do the markets have in store, Nick?
Well, I got to say, Kerry, it's been a very, very choppy week. We've had the first 2 days of the week. In fact, the markets gapped up strong and they reversed. So I have to think a lot of these moves are options X related. If you remember, going into late March, we had a very, very big rally in the market, and I bet a lot of call action was done around that time frame, and they're not paying these guys off at this time. So not a surprise to see the markets pull back here. I would expect, some choppiness and some volatility today, and then tomorrow it would be a little bit quiet as we go into the end of the week. Obviously, the market will be closed for the Good Friday holiday this week, so it's a holiday-shortened week, but it is still an options X where we've had a lot of choppiness and a lot of rumors, a lot of ridiculous upgrades and downgrades. Typical action, the typical institutional game playing that we get each and every month.
What a shock. What a shock. Well, hey, good news is the spring is here and earnings season kicks off today.
That's right. Earnings season kicked off today. JP Morgan Chase, Blackrock, Delta, a few others also reported numbers today. Delta is actually one of the stronger names today. Meanwhile, JP Morgan Chase and Blackrock are not doing too well. In fact, JP Morgan Chase is down over 3% today. So that is not acting well. The banks in general, just as a note, have not behaved well ever since we got that slight inversion of the yield curve recently. And even though it's not inverted at the moment, the bank stocks have really, really looked horrible on the chart. So I would be careful holding these banks into the earnings announcements.
All right. Well, in this type of market, potentially going into a recession, the financials aren't going to do well in that situation, are they?
No, and they're not going to do well if you get an inverted yield curve for any length of time. Right now, the yield curve has steepened over the last few days, but last week, we've had an inverted yield curve between the 5s and 30s. We've also had an inverted yield curve, a slight one between the 2-year Treasury note and the 10-year. So, again, that is not a constructive environment for financials. And in all honesty, you take a look at a stock like Citigroup, it looks just absolutely horrible on the charts.
Yeah, well, you know what we call Citibank. I can't say it here because this is a family show. But if you put an H in there, an SH, kind of get the idea. Well, so gold, really interesting. Right now on the spot, you follow the futures, right, getting up again to 2,000. So it's going to be time for another smackdown.
Well, I mean, right now, I have to say gold has been resilient. It's held up like a rock, and we talked about it. And I've said before, as long as this Russian-Ukraine war continues, I really can't see gold going down very much. Now, it's not at its parabolic peak, which it made on March 8th, but I mean, this is the ultimate fear trade. Why would anybody not want to be in it? You could even look at what's going on in Russia. They're actually possibly doing a dual currency where they're going to back their ruble by gold. So gold has a very good or better fundamental backdrop than it's had recently. And again, as long as this war goes on, I would not be shorting gold or even selling any.
Hey, 2 comments on that. The idea of Russia backing their currency with gold or commodities, it's what we all want. It's what we all desire. But one country doing it now will have to result in utter chaos throughout the entire monetary system, because if they made it convertible, it's one thing to back it, but make it convertible into gold, all the world's money would flow in there, but nobody would spend rubles. So they can't really do it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, what I think they're going to do is make a 2-tiered system. So they're going to do it for the domestic, to make a domestic system, and then keep the ruble also where it is going to be traded on the open market. And that may not be backed by gold. So again, just the Just a thought, though, that somebody is now starting to go back and remove fiat from the system. That I think that's ultimately going to be what happens anyway. When the system does all blow up, when it blows up completely and it falters, we're going to have to go back to a gold-based society. I know many people disagree with me, but I think that's the only resolution to having any kind of stable currency.
I'm inclined to agree with you, but we've been down this road before, and they will find a way to corrupt it unless the entire system's reformed. Kind of pointless. One other thing I wanted to point out, haven't talked about it in so long, is that that silver is starting to join the party.
Silver has started to join the party. In fact, when you look at silver futures, it really has made a big catch up or gain recently. Yesterday, it had a nice surge. Today, it's up again. The only problem I see here is that you are going into a lot of resistance. You have a lot of daily chart resistance from the March 24th pivot high. Obviously, you had the big sell-off on March 14th, and then you have the high pivot going back to March 9th, which is around, I'm going to say $27.40. So you have to, you have a lot of resistance in play on the daily chart, but it has really come back quite a bit.
Right. All right. Well, Bitcoin, where are we today with Bitcoin?
Yeah, Bitcoin is now made a little bit of a move back above that psychological 40,000 level after breaking below it. It has had a very good pullback. Today you're sitting at 40,700. So all in all, Bitcoin has climbed back a little bit, and that was the level it needed to be defended. Remember on the program here, I said right around that 39,000 area, that's what would get tested, and so far they successfully tested it. But again, there's nothing great for Bitcoin. It's just holding its near-term daily chart support level. If it bases or consolidates, we'll talk about it again, and that's where it could be very vulnerable to a decline. But for now, it's got higher lows in here, and it's successfully defended the support level at 39,000.
All right. Well, good recap. That's it for today. Make sure you go over to Nick's site, inthemoneystocks.com, see how he has beaten the averages for decades, and the Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, at Kerry Lutz. Your emails always welcome. Send them to KL@KerryLutz.com. Nick, Friday's a holiday. We'll talk to you again on Monday.
Have a great holiday, Kerry. Thank you.
You too.